Recently came the news that there is a possibility of another wave of COVID infection in our country. We have seen from news that COVID-19 cases have shot up by 82%, such that unvaccinated people are urged to get their vaccines immediately. The question is, are the sharp increases in infections that we've noticed recently enough for the general population to really get ahead and get the second booster? That's what's this. So in reality, even though the Philippine data shows that cases seem to be increasing, but if you compare our rates to other countries in terms of COVID-19 cases, we continue to have one of the lowest daily case counts in Southeast Asia. While daily cases are increasing, yes, it's true, yet the good news is that the severe or critical cases and deaths remain very low, with only approximately 15 severe critical cases as of last week, equivalent to around 2 cases of severe or critical cases of COVID-19 per day nationwide. So what we know is that COVID-19 is no longer a deadly disease it once was, with only 6 deaths so far recorded as of last week, or it means less than 1 COVID-19 related death per day. Therefore, we also see from hospital data that healthcare utilization remains very low, moving our country slowly from a pandemic mindset to a true endemic mindset. So if you'll note, in other countries, there's also a recent similar trend in terms of increased cases of COVID-19. Israel, for example, on Sunday saw over 10,000 new cases of COVID-19 diagnosed, the highest number since April 4, putting the positivity rate at around 38.9%. It is believed that some may remain vulnerable because they have never had COVID or never had COVID vaccination, or that some are vulnerable despite prior infection or vaccination, or both because they elicited inadequate or waning immunity due to several reasons, including advancing age, or if they're on chemotherapy, or they have other comorbidities. We also note that the virus has been constantly mutating, and some variants are evading immunity conferred by prior infection with older strains or older vaccines. Now, although COVID vaccines and prior infection do continue to protect us against severe disease, remember, they don't protect infection or prevent transmission. So the question I have is it time for the general population to get a second booster? Now, the data on second boosters for the general public, unfortunately, is still incomplete. So there is an emerging data that bivalent, or the newer vaccines, which are multivalent vaccines, may in fact be better for those below 60, but it will take time for these vaccines to arrive. So in the meantime, the current vaccines do work very well as primary series plus the first booster. Now, it's okay for people 60 and above and who are immunocompromised to get the second boosters of the present vaccines, since we do have data to support that. First boosters are definitely recommended for everyone 12 years old and above. Now, recently, Moderna announced encouraging results for their new bivalent vaccines, which also now contains Omicron spike protein mRNA. And when used at 50 microgram booster, it has been shown to significantly result in better neutralizing antibody activity against Omicron, and also showed significantly higher neutralizing antibodies against other variants of concerns. Now, while we await the availability of these bivalent or newer, better vaccines that will protect us against emerging variants, our current anti-COVID-19 measures are already sufficient enough to get us out of the pandemic if used properly. Meaning, we need to continue using multiple layers of protection as our best way to make up for the deficiencies of any one intervention. So therefore, still the proper wearing of mask, the timely COVID-19 vaccines and first booster, and the continuing practice of basic minimum public health standards when used correctly and consistently. The word here is consistently, should be able to keep SARS-CoV-2 suppressed for a long time. Now, you will see that other countries have surges of COVID-19 cases. Well, these countries which are experiencing recurrent waves of infection, obviously, this is not due to failure of the vaccines to protect us, but it may be more of an issue of the citizens or the people and the population's unwillingness to use all the proven minimal safety layers, including masking. It is therefore our hope that as soon as we will have these future interventions on hand, including the newer generation vaccines that may prove so effective, that we will hopefully no longer require additional protective measures, including masking. Until those issues or measures occur, true endemicity may be elusive for those countries which are unable to implement what clearly needs to be done. So in closing, we have heard recently the World Health Organization came up with a new recommendation regarding boosters, that the current vaccines can be used for second booster for 60 years old and above, as well as immunocompromised persons at this time, given at least 4 months from the first booster. But that for the general public 12 years on above, it is probably better to wait for the updated vaccines as the second booster, as long as you have gotten the first booster. So what's my take on this matter? As a doctor who's qualified for a second booster, but I'm still below 60 and not immunocompromised, I have the option of going to wait for the updated vaccines for my second booster. The first booster that I got will continue to protect me, as data from the second booster with the current vaccines is not that great yet. It continues to be best that we listen to what science is saying. For now, keep those masks on, continue to be vaccinated and get the booster, and of course, please continue to practice the minimum public health standards, including masking. We are on our way to indemnicity. Again, this is Dr. Jerry Tan. Stay safe, please. See you again soon.